Lacey Fletcher didn't deserve the way she was treated. What are your thoughts just on that statement, Ellen?
Didn't deserve what she was treated?
Didn't deserve the way she was treated. So just this part here. DA Sam said, I believe justice has been served here today. Lacey Fletcher didn't deserve the way she was treated, and they got second-degree murder, I believe.
How is it ever justice going to be served?
I can answer
Justice
that, but
will
they
never
won't.
be served until those two people are gone.
No, I disagree with you. And I know that several of the podcasts that I listen to, you've got 50% are like, no, I'm anti-death penalty because I don't agree with it. And they've got good reasons for not agreeing with it. And you've got other ones saying, I'm for the death penalty, and they've got good reasons for being for the death penalty.
I'd like them to be treated how they treated her.
That's my answer. Unless their arse has been sat covered in shit for 12 years on a sofa, they have not served any justice whatsoever.
Yeah, we both know that's not going to happen.
So, no, there's no way at this point they will ever get justice.
They get their bed and breakfast.
He went on to say negligent homicide is 0 to 5 years, manslaughter is 0 to 40 years, and second-degree murder is life in prison. And I will ask for second degree because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. The coroner's office has a lot of power. Now, this I thought was important. I think this was so important. If you take anything away from this case, take this away. Forget about sharing. Forget about Tracy Daly stuff. Forget about the podcast. Take this away with you. If people don't want or get treatment or they refuse treatment, go to the coroner's office. Go to law enforcement. Check your neighbours. Check your friends. Reach out and make sure people are taken care of. I'm going to repeat that. That's how important that is. If people don't want or get treatment, or they refuse treatment, go to the coroner's office, go to law enforcement, check your neighbours, check your friends, reach out and make sure people are taken care of. These people have the power to get somebody there, and I guess that answers that question about the medical support that they could have had. Even without the money, they would have had somebody there. I am in several mental health groups online, several, and 2 of them run really, really well. And literally, all I would have to do is go, oh, this is how I'm feeling. Bing, I'd have an inbox. This wasn't 1945.
No, not
This wasn't so long ago that they couldn't have reached out and said, you know what, I'm in the shit. And I don't mean that in a negative way. And, literally, I need help. And they would have sorted it. The couple's, and this is what I wrote, the couple's scumbag lawyer said, his name was Stephen Moore, they don't want to relive the pain of losing a child. They have had a lot of heartache over the years. Anyone who has lost a child knows what it's like.
I'd like to know what the heartache is over the years.
I wouldn't. I don't care. Because
it's just a bullshit excuse.
I've had a little bit of heartache over the years.
Well, we can say everyone's had heartache.
Yeah.
Heartache for the individual is very different.
Where's our kid?
Precisely.
So I don't care about your heartache, mate. I don't care what you've been through. If you're treating somebody else like that, you don't exist. You have no reason to exist. It's disgusting. They're back in court September the 6th, and trial is due February the 6th, 2023. We've gone over an hour. Yay! Robert Blade told the Daily Mail, I'm shocked what happened to that baby. I don't believe anyone had any idea. She was a sweet girl. I wouldn't treat my dogs like that. That's unspeakable. He goes on, I am saddened to the bone. I would have called authorities if I'd seen her like that. We're obligated to one another as humans. Now, because I know what comes next, tell me your thoughts.
It's hard because I also want to say he was the one that asked Clay, Lacey's father.
Yeah, he was a genuine guy. He was outstanding.
How was she? Where is she? We haven't seen her for a while. But yeah, okay, again, here in England, our houses are right next to each other. If we don't see each other for a while, literally, our front door is basically next to our neighbour's front door.
No identifiers, just be careful.
So, we can literally cross each other's pathways morning, noon and night and see each other.
Yeah.
I know in America, it's very different.
Depends on the area of America, though. I mean, from what I understand,
From
it's
what
like,
I see, this house was a standalone house and
yeah.
nothing either side.
I mean, look at Steve, who's in New York, and certain areas of New York are
Yeah.
just flat and fields. Other areas of New York is tower block on top of tower block. So,
And again, I'm not
it's
really
all different.
familiar with Slaughter, Louisiana, but I believe it's quite a small place.
I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
So, I want to say if it's small enough and it is like that, do you not take care of your neighbours a little bit more? And, you know, your kids are friends. You kind of know what's going on and you haven't seen each other yet. She was, downstairs in the living room when she was found?
Yeah, I believe so.
Was the curtains closed? Could we see into that living room? We've not seen walking
I don't believe they were that close. It's not like here where literally we can see across the road into our neighbour. We can see what they're watching across the way if we wanted to. I don't believe it's like that.
This is the point. Like, although he says if he didn't, you know, if he'd have known about that situation, he could have called authorities.
So, from what we're saying now, though, you know, marks out of 10, if we're giving this guy a 5-star rating on Amazon, what rating would you give this guy so far, just based on the information we've spoke about? Robert Blade.
Do you know what? I don't think I could give him a rating because I feel like I'd need to know more information.
Okay, I'll give you more information. At this point, I'd have given him a 4-star rating. You know, he's looked out for this girl. He doesn't have to. There's nothing to do with him. He's gone over and he said, hey, you know, how is she, blah, blah, blah. And when people have asked him, he's given them the information that he's got. He doesn't have to. He could say, you're the media, get lost. I don't want to know. It's probably what I'd say.
Yeah, definitely.
And then when I found out about it, I'd be like, actually, you know what? This is what I know because this is how harsh it is. But this is what changed my 4-star rating. He went on to say, I pray for Clay and Sheila. I don't hate them. God will hold us fully accountable for our actions. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. They were really well-liked people around here who went to church every Sunday. I knew them as fine and upstanding. I would never in my wildest dreams have thought anything was wrong over there.
Nobody ever does.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe with some of the reports and stories, maybe he was the neighbour that was there.
It's just so cringe because were these guys that smart? And I don't like to use the word smart when somebody's doing something really this scummy, but
they was that emotionless.
That they could walk out and be like, hey Dave, how you doing, mate? You alright? What you been up to? Oh, I love the garden. You're doing a great job, mate. And walk straight back in past his daughter, covered in feces, who's sat there, and for all we know, at least for the first few months, at least she would have gone, Dad, I'm hurting. Dad, I smell. Dad, I'm in pain. Dad, what we're going to do?
And we've seen pictures of this, Sheila and Clay. Smiling, happy, 3 people in front of a Christmas tree.
Oof.
What?
12 years. Birthdays, Christmas, Easter, Tooth Fairy. What do you...
And you go in the sense of going, hey, what friends and family was in and out of that house? Where was any aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents?
Oh, we've got a little bit somewhere
and I did
here
have a look
that you found. Yeah. You could probably tell me more on this, actually. Clay Fletcher's dad died.
He passed away
in 2007.
Yeah, I think.
And his mum died in 2021.
So, which I believe was the same year that Lacey was found. Was it 21 or 22 that she was found? It was 22, wasn't it? So it was the year before, in fact.
Dad's obituary mentions Lacey, Sheila, and Clay.
Yeah.
Mum's obituary in 2021 also mentions Lacey, and she died at 91. These people knew about her.
They're aware. This family, and it mentioned other, grandchildren in her obituary and stuff like that. And so you're led to believe there is other family, and I believe, I don't know if it was Sheila's sister, possibly lived quite close to them.
Yeah, and I don't want to drag them into that because I heard it said in another cast not so long ago, which I totally understand because I'm at this point now with this one where I'm like, I don't give a fuck about their family, they're all scum.
I'd just like to know their thoughts and views on it because out of all of the media, we've got the neighbours said this and neighbours have said that, but there's no other family mentioned. I'd like to know what they think of the parents, if they knew the situation. Hey, we haven't seen Lacey since she was, 5 years old, or hey, do you know what? We had an argument. We don't talk. We haven't seen each other.
And that's it.
That
They probably
happens.
knew. They probably knew. And I don't want to be like, they're all scum, tie them all with the same brush, because that's how it feels, and a lot of people do this. And like I said, I heard somebody do it recently, and I totally understood it. But at the same time, I'm from a family where somebody has killed somebody else. I've got to keep my voice down now because I just did a little movement upstairs. And that's how much that, I mean, to the point of we don't swear around our kids. We do not. And there's so many
I know, it's
parents.
like you've got freedom now, isn't it?
Yeah, hey, I got my life back. But there's so many people that do. And so many families that do, even the ones that we know personally,
Yeah,
sort
and
of
it's
a
not
physical
knocking,
sense.
it's just a personal
Choice.
it's
We
a personal
choose not
choice.
to, and yet you wouldn't believe it the way I speak on here, or the way when I was down at the builders' yards, or where I'm at work, or whatever. But around my kids, we don't F and blind at all.
No need.
Look at the extremes that these guys have gone to, and it does my head in. But as I was going back to, I am from a family where there was a couple of criminals, and there was this bad event that occurred, and people have tied me with the same brush 100 times. Take Clive, my uncle. He was very much like, you look like him, and this, that, and the other, until we broke that barrier. And I have had that stigma attached. So it's not fair of me to go, I'm going to wash my hands of this whole family. They're all scumbags. No, the parents are scumbags.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got no
you can't
proof.
tie them with the same.
That's
Yeah, no,
what I'm
definitely
saying.
not.
It's so easy to do that because we rationalise it as people and go, look, all Germans because of the war. Yeah, it's not all Germans, is it? It's just the fucking few.
But I think it'll be interesting to know. I mean, would you really mention somebody, whoever wrote that obituary? Would you really write somebody in that if you wasn't in correspondence with them?
It's a hard call
if you
because
haven't
how
been
many
speaking to them
people?
for years, or
It's a hard call because how many people say father of this, son of this, grandmother of this, and for all I know, I don't know what your notes were exactly, but it might have been something as simple as she was the grandmother of this one, this one, this
it
one,
was
and they
quite
might not have
simple.
even known whether she was still
It
alive or
was
not.
quite simple, but that's the thing. Somebody writes them, they don't just get put in to that obituary in that sense.
I do agree with you, but as somebody who writes, someone at some point went, she's got locked-in syndrome. Show me one scrap of evidence, one scrap of medical paperwork that says this bird had locked-in syndrome, or that she had anything which caused paralysis, other than you could say they couldn't recognise her buttocks and her spine. Maybe she had some sort of spinal cord injury. It doesn't come up in the coroner's report. Doesn't come up anything about nerve damage. Doesn't come up anything where the sepsis and the infection has been so severe that it's caused immobility to that degree. It has in the sense of she's stuck in a sofa, but no other means. Her limbs work, from what I understand.
It would just be interesting to know. But I don't think, in that sense, we ever will.
Sad is the point of there's no outcome to these, which is, I knew when I first started looking into things that what would bug me the most is the lack of justice and the fact that you can never obtain justice. The person at work said today, you could have killed him. And I said, yes, I could. And he was like, okay, that's not you. And I said, no, you're right.
Yeah,
it's
I think
not.
that's the thing. It's each to your own in that thought. That just makes you as bad as him.
That's what he said. It doesn't change a thing. You might feel better for 5 minutes. You might feel better for a day. You still got to go back and parent your kids. You still got to get on with your life. And you are not going to do it all churned up. Trust me about being churned up about guilt from the past. You're not going to do it
when you're inside.
Yeah, and you're not going to do it all churned up from your past. I don't believe that you have to forgive all these negative things at all. But I do believe you don't need to carry around that big ball of knotted, worm-filled crap in your chest. You don't need to carry that with you. And there's ways of forgiving yourself and moving on without forgiving the scumbag that caused the problem.
Yeah, it's taking that experience as a whole and making you a stronger and better person going forwards with your life, not holding on to it and living in the past.
So what can we do
growing from it
with this cast that's going to put... Because several people say, your book, it's inspirational, this, that, and the other, it's great, and blah, blah, blah. What can we do with this little voice that we've got? And people, give us recommendations. You've probably seen more than me. We have. Give us an idea. What can we do that's going to immortalise, keep alive the positives of a case? She was a kind, sweet girl, rather than she's the girl that